Welcome back, everyone, to An Ordinary Search for Truth. My name is Nate, and today we will be taking the final step of understanding that we need to take in order to understand absolute truth or reality as it is, and also the step that we must take in order to understand ourselves as we are. In my first 3 videos, we worked through a few stages of understanding that are crucial to go through, especially when you haven't really been exposed to a non-dual kind of philosophy or a non-dual understanding. And so in my first video, we identified the seemingly dualistic quality of our experience, where we see that we feel that we are an I, or a subjective self, and that we observe an outside world, an objective world, or what is not I. And this duality is the fundamental duality of all dualities that there are. We kind of got in touch with that fact of our experience. And then in the second video, we identified kind of what absolute truth is and whether we can know it and with what we would know it with. Then in the third video, we investigated ourself, which is what we have to know it with, and kind of took a look at what that subjective side of the duality of experience is. Once we go through these steps, really go through them, I mean, more than just watching my videos for the first time and trying to process it for the first time. After you've been exposed to these concepts several times, many times, and have done the investigative work that it takes, the self-inquiry that it takes, after doing all that, the final step, which I'm going to talk about in this video, is when we get to the point where we have to accept that absolute truth is whole, it is one, it is a unity, fundamentally. And yet, our experience seems to be a duality of I and not I, experiencer and what is experienced, the observer and what is observed. And we have to see this duality for what it is. Because, like I say, reality or absolute truth is one, or what's known as non-dual, non-dualistic. What this means is that we're going to have to come to terms somehow with the fact that what we take to be ourselves and what we take to be the outside world are actually one and the same thing fundamentally. And not only can we think about this conceptually, but we can directly experience this. And until we do, it's just a belief. It's just a philosophy. But once you have that direct experience, it becomes a knowledge, a matter-of-fact thing. And it's hard to see the world otherwise after you've realized this. So this is the truth of the matter. There are not two ultimate realities. Existence is what it is, and it is whole and all-inclusive. It must be. If there is something outside of it, then it would not be ultimate reality. It would be lacking something other than itself, which it isn't. It contains all that is, and any belief otherwise that we have, and trust me, we have a lot, any of those beliefs that there is separation or independent existence other than this fundamental independent existence is an illusion or an assumption, a misunderstanding. And like I say, we have a lot of these that we have to work through in order to see through them. Our experience is seemingly filled with a multiplicity of separate, distinct objects, including ourselves. You could look around the room right now and say, well, that over there is my lamp, and that over there is my chair, and I'm over here. Separate, distinct objects. I tried to help you notice your awareness of these things in contrast to the phenomena that you are aware of. And as important as that is, because that is crucial, you have to get in touch with awareness, because awareness is ultimately the substance of all things. And the most direct way to get in touch with your awareness is to turn your awareness back on itself and become aware that you're aware. Basically, shine the light on itself. And once you do that, you start to understand kind of the fundamental nature of this awareness. But that's still not deep enough, because at that point you still think that you are a separate object that has awareness, but that this chair over here, or whatever it may be, whatever object, is not aware, but you are aware of it. There's separation there. There's you and there's not you. But reality has no separation. That separation is merely an illusion or assumption that we've made. You are one with everything. And yeah, that sounds really new age and mystical and everything, but that's literally how it is. So, whatever the fundamental stuff is that you are, everything is that. And what are you? Your awareness. So, everything is awareness. In later videos, we'll do more in-depth examination of these two sides of experience, you and not you. But briefly, just briefly, let me walk you through a few things. So if you honestly investigate the objective world, the world of objects, the universe, the material world around you, you find that what you take to be substance is actually really a mental representation or best usable guess that our mind can make of what is going on in reality. Scientists, even today, have admitted that the material reality that we interact with every day is actually more like a hologram, a projection, and that it is not an accurate representation of what is going on in the universe. You can take, for example, the light spectrum that we can see is just a thin, thin band of the electromagnetic spectrum. There's a whole lot going on that we can't see. And that's just one example. If you study into quantum physics, which is kind of the new frontier of scientific discovery, you will find that objective reality is really a lot more fluid and fuzzy than we would like to admit. And it is that way until it's observed. And then once it is observed, then it becomes, I guess, solid, or at least the illusion of solidity. And like I say, this is grossly simplified, and I will go deeper in later videos. But the point is, this substantial universe that we believe we are in and interacting with is not what it appears to be. It is illusory. Let's take subatomic particles, for instance. An atom, the very building block of everything, is mostly empty space. When I say mostly, I mean 99.9999999% empty space. And that 0.000000001% of actual substance, well, what is that? When you get down to it, it's not really a substance. It's more like interacting energies, maybe. Quantum probabilities. The point is that everything appears to be more something than nothing, but it's mostly empty of actual substance. And we're not sure exactly how it appears or why it is the way it is. It's a huge conundrum for scientists. Now that they've gone into quantum physics, trying to understand how our universe operates on the subatomic quantum scale, and it just doesn't jive with what we see in our regular everyday reality. And they're still trying to figure that out. And that's just an objective investigation. It appears to be that there's really not very much substance to it. And if there is substance, it's some sort of energy, which is not really a particle. Then in my third video, we did a light investigation of self. And we really weren't able to find our substance either. Our awareness that we take to be the I, the fundamental I that we are, seems to be unobservable, emptiness, nothingness, void. There's nothing to observe there. It's just kind of a knowing, an aware field. And there's no substance there either. So on both sides of the duality of the experiencer and what we experience, we can't really find a fundamental substance, a fundamental thing. On both sides, we just find a whole lot of nothingness. So it's really quite a surprise that anything exists at all. Why is there reality? We have experience. This is something, right? So what is it? It doesn't feel like nothing. When you fall against the ground and your body hits the floor, that doesn't feel like nothing. It doesn't feel like an illusion. We must conclude, and it's possible, like I say, to directly experience this. And I do hope that you do. That there is nothing being experienced and nothing experiencing it. There's only experience happening. That's a tough thing to take a bite out of. That in fact the objective world does not exist. And the subjective you does not exist either. All that exists is pure being, being itself. I'm sure you're thinking, what? That makes no sense. Obviously, there is an outside world. And obviously, I exist. Duh, I'm right here. Hi, here I am. Yes, this is very deep understanding, and there's a lot of layers of misunderstanding and assumptions that we've made that are getting in the way of actually experiencing this. But what I'm saying is there is no fundamentally separate self. There is no fundamentally separate or self-existing you. There's no fundamentally separate anything. Reality is oneness, non-dual. It contains the illusion of separation, which we are very familiar with, but absolute truth is that all is just awareness being aware of its own activity. Everything is an activity within awareness, but awareness is its substance and its reality. If we go to the senses, which is how we know the world, you don't taste things. Tasting happens within awareness. You don't smell things. Smelling happens within awareness. You don't hear things. Hearing happens within awareness. You don't feel things or touch things. Feeling and touching happens within awareness. You don't think things. Thinking just happens in awareness. All is just happening. Everything is just happening. It's all just being what it is. This is ultimate reality, infinite imagination, being what it is. That is reality. That is absolute truth. You cannot get more fundamental or more whole than this. What you consider to be you, what you consider to be the universe, that is one being itself. That's it. That's all that can ever really be said. And you think it's crazy. If you're still watching this, I'm actually a little surprised. You got all sorts of objections. Your mind is coming up with all sorts of things to say, no, you're wrong. No, that's not it at all. Yeah, I learned totally different things in school and college. Uh, you're insane. You're crazy. Yeah, assumptions, your beliefs, your thoughts, all of those are also happening. They're also part of reality. This oneness that I speak of, this non duality, this infinite awareness, can be directly experienced. And you don't need substances to experience it. They might help you get glimpses, but ultimately, substances will not give you the lasting experience that you seek. But once you do experience it, if you do the work, then all that I've said here will make sense and will seem obvious. You'll wonder how you missed it all this time. It'll be completely apparent. We are one with everything. The entire universe is one being itself. And you are that. I will definitely address common questions or objections in later videos, so please, if you have any of those, comment them. Get mad at me in the comments. Yell at me your objections, please, and I will address them. I'm here to walk you through processes to help you realize in your direct experience what it is I'm talking about. Because me just talking about it and you just listening to it is not going to get you there. Once you do, there will be a peace that cannot be taken from you that will enter your life. And that peace is indescribable, really. And I hope that you can get that someday. I'll do my best to help you get there. Anyway, that's all the time I have now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like if you enjoy my content, subscribe if you want to see later videos and be notified. And like I say, definitely comment down below. I love to hear from you. I don't care what it is. I love interacting with you. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.